What's up, Tim?
Hey guys, I'm super stoked to be here tonight. We already started in on it, so I'm trying to hold back from unleashing.
Yeah, the pre-recording, it was some good talk there.
We might have to find a way to put that in.
I might have to do it.
Edit out the part where I said douchebag.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. But you can't swear. You can swear on the show. So
right.
So go at it.
I swear I'm going to try to do a good job.
So, Tim, I've been racing since, I started in 87, and I never crossed paths with you, ever. You raced oval. You've done everything, pretty much. 12-scale on-road, oval, drag racing.
Yeah.
Helicopters, boats.
Yeah. Maybe it's a generic name, you know? There had to be a lot of other Smiths out there. I seem to run into them.
I never see any Smiths anywhere.
I know another Tim Smith. So
that's it.
That's what on Facebook. I have 2 or 3 Tim Smiths on there. So
so when I told Jason Tim Smith was going to be on the show, he thought it was his buddy Tim Smith.
I always try to find those guys and friend them. I want to create an army of everyone with the same name.
I'm like, man, the guy from Savannah that races a 1/8 buggy. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, because I'm. Jason's like, yeah, I know him. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, great. So your background in RC goes over 20 years. Wow, man. 20 years you've been doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like everybody else's, though. I'm sure everybody started the same way. Like I was working at McDonnell Douglas, and I was, 19 years old, and I was making really good money. I was in the union and, living at home and all that. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go buy a really awesome RC car. Like I always wanted when I was a kid, but never had the money to do it. So
you got a Tamiya Frog?
That's exactly what I bought. That's exactly what I bought. I walked in and it was sitting right on the very top in the most beautiful box I'd ever seen. And I thought, this is perfect. It's even got a guy driving it. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought
Everybody had that car.
You know what I loved about that car too was it took me, I mean, seriously, it probably took me maybe 2 days to build at least, like it took some time, you had to put some parts together and, do some things and nobody at that time, at least, that I knew of, nobody was racing RC stuff. So you had nobody to even talk to about it. And so I bought it and I raced it all around my yard until I broke it. And then I wandered into, there was a track out here, you might remember, One Stop Raceway. They were in I don't know, like Los Cerritos or something like that. And I go into the shop and I go up to the counter to get my buggy fixed, and this guy comes to the counter. His name's Mustang. I'm not kidding you. And he looks just like Elvis. He looks exactly like Elvis, as a matter of fact. And just how these things go. And the guy comes on to me and he's talking about his buggy. And I look over his shoulder, and behind him there's this huge glass window. And behind that window is this small banked paved oval indoors, and I'd never seen anything like that before at all, And I saw it, and I tell him, like, whoa, what the heck is that, man? And he's like, oh, we race out there, on the weekends or whatever, and blah blah blah. So you should come back and check it out. So I come back on like that Saturday with my Frog, right? and I pay $7 and I enter the novice class, and I get up there with my Frog and I freaking win. I freaking win the thing, right? That's it. The hook is set. I'm done for the rest of my life now. There it is. And that's the whole story in a nutshell. So that's how like the drug dealer says, the first hit's always free. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I was gone.
That's the Paul Wynn theory is, if you have a little bit of success when you start in this, you're done. You're hooked for, could be forever.
Right. And I'd always raced. My dad and I had raced dirt oval cars out at Ascot Raceway, and I raced sprint cars. At 16, I was racing a dirt oval car. By 17, maybe 18, I was racing a sprint car from Makita Power Tools. And then once they closed that down, we started doing drag racing, real drag racing. And so, racing's always kind of been, something we've always done. We've always been kind of competitive like that. So, yeah, you go out and you win your first race with your Tamiya Frog, and boom, it's on like bing bong, baby. And so I went back to Mustang, and I did the smartest thing ever. He sold me a car that he built that worked really good. Oh my gosh, the smartest thing you can ever do in racing right off the bat is buy a car from somebody who knows what they're doing. And so he buys me this car, and so then all I had to do is go out and learn how to drive. Well, that, there it was. Woo.
Wow.
The rest is history, right?
Yeah. Tamiya Frog. Unbelievable.
That's it. How many people do you think started with that car?
Yeah, a lot.
That and the Hornet.
Yeah.
A lot of people had the Hornet, too.
Mm-hmm. I ended up with a Clodbuster at one point. That might be my favorite RC car ever. Really?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that thing, because back when it first came out, there weren't really any big trucks like that, and it had the really cool, thick body with the blower scoop and all that kind of stuff on it, like more detailed. And it has front and rear steering. I mean, come on. It has front and rear steering.
Mm-hmm.
What else can you say?
Yeah.
You get to put two motors in that thing.
That truck hooked me into RC also, the Clodbuster. That was my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
That was really kind of the first car I started making ridiculously fast. And I made it fast enough that the tires would blow off the rims, and so then I realized, okay, well, I got to do something else.
Wow.
Yeah. And then sort of fell into RC drag racing. I was at One Stop Raceway, and there's a guy named Mike Ogle. This guy, for those of you guys out there that know who Mike Ogle is, he worked at Associated for a long time. He did a lot of their ad work, some of the ads they still use now. He has a little RC company in the middle of Missouri, or Kansas, rather, Grand Motorsports, that builds RC dragster chassis. Well, he comes wandering into One Stop one day when I'm in there practicing, because that's what you do, right? You practice.
Mm-hmm.
And come on, man, I gave it to you on a tee and you didn't even hit it. But whatever.
I was looking for it, dude.
It'll be in the edit.
We talking about practice. Woo-hoo. Not a game. We talking about practice. Practice, man.
Keep your finger ready. So he comes in with this thing, and I see this. He has this RC dragster that he's bought from some company, and I saw it and just fell in love with, how cool looking it was. I mean, if you haven't seen one, they're just, it's a completely different beast in RC than anything else, and they're simplistic, but they sort of ooze speed. You look at it and you think, well, yeah, that's probably a fast car. And so just started doing RC drag racing. That's where I got more serious about it and started traveling all over the U.S. just racing drag cars at different races all the time. And it sort of went like that for a few years. And then, you get older, got married, had kids, bought a house, didn't race for a while. started flying helicopters and planes because that's what old people do. No offense. And well, I did. Well, I'm going to pee off some people with that one. So I did helicopters for a while, and I did them competitively, and they're really crazy to do. To do stunts and stuff. But it was one of those things where to really learn a good stunt, you're gonna wreck a helicopter to do it for the most part, And they're so bad because they don't just crash and hit the ground. They hit the ground and then they keep running and they keep like churning and ripping themselves to shreds until there's just sort of this ball of a motor with shrapnelled carbon fiber everywhere. It's just hideous. So yeah, after a few repairs, I'm like, okay, that's enough of that, and I got rid of those. And then you're going to love this part of the story because we talked about him. I get a call from a guy named Nick Case. Mm-hmm. He calls me up and says, hey, I'm putting on a speed run in North Carolina. This is like, 2006 or something. I'd love, for you to come out there. You did this, I did a insane speed run along with drag race. I did insane speed run with, in like 90 and 91 with Cliff Lett around the velodrome out here in Encino, or not Encino, it was Dominguez Hills. And so I'd done some speedrun stuff, and I guess Nick had seen that and got all into speedrun racing from seeing those insane speedruns. And so he contacts me out of the blue. I don't really know the guy, and tells me, hey, I'd like you to come to this race. And so I talked to Max Amps and Novak, and they're like, yeah, go, let's go, go fast. So I go back there and I run a 2-cell car. And it runs like 84 miles an hour. That's the new record, in 2-cell. And, that was kind of the next hook. It's sort of like that was the thing that sort of started propelling me into the speed run thing, because from the outside, it seems so simplistic. You just look at it, and it's just a car. I mean, it's essentially, put a motor in a car and see how fast you can go. But, there's all these weird things that come up as you're trying to do it. And it seems every single piece on the car has to be rethought and re-engineered, and all the way up to I know probably people don't believe this, but there is a lot of practice in like running one of these cars. It's the kind of thing where I'd run the car from just over a quarter mile away from me, so you're running a car that you can't even really see, at least not for a while, until it's maybe at 80 or 100 miles an hour, and then you kind of pick it up, hopefully. So, yeah, I don't know where that story went, but hey, have it.
Yeah.
So when you drive in the car, do you drive it from the side or from the front or the back?
I drive it from the side. I stand about the cars. Let's say I'm standing, next to a track across me, or a runway, really. The car is to my right, maybe 1,300 feet, and then the timing trap. We have a dual optical timing trap is about 500 feet to my left. So I sort of run the car. I try to split difference because into braking, I try to have a little control into braking, but the car is good. At that speed, it gets out of your range pretty quickly. So
kind of going back a little bit to, your 90s experience, because that's kind of like where my experience or any of my speed run knowledge is of all because it was well promoted in those days with the velodrome and the insane speed run stuff. Is that you kind of talked about a little bit running with Cliff was just on the show, and what did you take out of that? And kind of going from the 70 mile an hour range to the 80, was that like a big step?
Well, back then, that was still round cells and brushed motors. So as it's night and day compared to the stuff now. The car we ran back then too, it was overall speed. Like I think you had a minute or something like that, and you had to maintain the average speed over that minute. And the car we ran was a single motor. It was an Astroflight motor, and I don't even know honestly if they're still around. They probably are. They probably still make airplane motors or something like that. But they just make these big, huge honking brushed motors. And I think we ran like 18 round cells on it, like 18 900 milliamp cells. The car probably weighed, 9-10 pounds. So the principles were all so different. I ran an insane speed run a couple of years ago on the Insano, or not the Mingus, Encino velodrome. And that was one I'd run on before, but I ran it with like a 2-cell. I ran 2-cell on a 540 Novak. I think it was a 3.5 ballistic motor, and I was running over 85 mile an hour every lap and no problem. It's so completely different. To run 70 was so hard to even hold a car on the track because it was so heavy and everything else. I don't even know how to compare the two anymore. It's just the technology is so crazy and different. You're starting to see it back then. There was Aviox and stuff showing up. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's what Cliff was running, was Aviox. And I was over having lunch with Joel like last week, and we were talking about that same race. He ran this car that was chain drive. Some guys made for him. It was like a twin motor chain drive car, and it was insane. It went straight so fast. It had to run 90 mile an hour down straightaways, but it wouldn't turn.
Yeah.
So the technology we had then was just not what it was now. It was more fun because you struggled more, maybe, but it just certainly isn't the same as it is now. It's so different now.
So the progression then we kind of talked about was from the 70 mile an hour range with Cliff, and you were involved there in the 70 mile an hour range, and then with Clausen, for whatever reason, was it 75.92 miles an hour? Was that the Clausen?
That sounds about right. Yeah, somewhere around there, 75 or 77, somewhere in that range.
And then from there, that went back to Cliff in the 80 mile an hour range.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, the thing there too is they were all doing it around a closed course. The speed run stuff now, and like the stuff that Car Action was doing a few years back, is all basically on drag strips or runways or something like that. So there's just a massive speed difference in the two. But I'll tell you, once you get a car, I don't care what car it is, once a car gets above about 80 miles an hour or so, there's weird levels in speed, and just below 100 is one of these really strange levels where cars don't want to go faster than that. I've seen car after car after car, all kinds of different cars, on-road cars, drag cars, trucks, you name it, and they get into the 90 mile an hour range and they can't seem to do anything with it. It just it's like a wall for them. And once you get past that, it seems like it's easy. Like I can run any two-cell car well over 100 miles an hour, 110, 120, no problem. And that's not being boastful. That's just I've figured out all the little things that get you to that point. And I think that's, just a matter of it is where 70 miles an hour then, 80 mile an hour, 90 mile an hour now is probably those same, I think those are equal barriers, as far as, normal stuff. And, you get into the hundreds and aerodynamics start becoming very, very important. Getting over 100, how you control the car, how you get the car up to speed, it seems so simple, but I mean, I've gone out with guys and they've run their cars and run them, 90 plus mile an hour, and I'll take it and run, 8 or 9 mile an hour faster for the same car just because I understand maybe the dynamics, or sometimes I feel like there's a connection, you guys all know, you all race, you get that connection with your car, and you just kind of feel what it needs, you know what it feels like in a corner. I mean, on road, I really got that, especially in carpet. You just really start getting a sense of, you can almost feel the car leaning hard and pushing hard. And it's really no different in accelerating. You're trying to accelerate so smoothly without pushing the car over, because once you break the tires and you start spinning, one, obviously you're going to, you could crash, but your amp draw shoots up, all kinds of terrible things start happening internally because you're really cranking your system hard. And so, you just have to be really, really confident in how you get a car up to speed, and I guess, and have some connection with that car too, And so, I don't know.
I never had that connection with my car.
Oh, come on, sure you did. At some point you did. I mean, at some point, like I heard Jack Nicklaus say one time, every amateur at one point hits a shot as good as a professional, and that's true. At some point, at some point you hit it perfect. At some point you feel it. It's there,
Well, I guess you can argue, Jason, I did in that P main victory at Megatrack.
There you go. See, just when you thought you wouldn't make the P, when you thought you wouldn't make the P, there it was.
Yeah.
Right there for you.
Yeah. You were in the zone.
Ow.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my, I'm just trying to reference things that I've heard over the years, and just trying to kind of lay it all out there for everybody in terms of how this stuff has progressed over the years.
Yeah, I
and
mean, really
how you guys started in one place and how you're moving through the, like you talked about the round cells, and you moved, the Aviox stuff, and then kind of into, that, because we're still in the 90s then, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then you move into the 2000s and, getting into lipos and heavy brushless equipment, right?
Right. Brushless was the big change, and even that has still been kind of a slow progression. In my main car, my car that I'm trying to break 200 miles an hour with, I'm going to run 12 cells in that car. I've been running 8. Anyone who's seen my runs, I run as fast as 179, but that was just on a radar gun. Guinness. Let's talk about Guinness. How about that? Let's explain some of this stuff, because I'm guessing there's a lot of people like have no idea whatever this guy's yammering on about. So it goes like this. The whole goal is in some ways is a Guinness record. My whole goal personally, honestly, is 200 miles an hour. No one's been there. That's a huge thing. I told Cliff this when we had lunch the other day. I said, I go, honestly, at this point, I've raced forever. I've raced everything. And I love this sport. I love it so much. And I don't know if you guys know, but Max Amps let me accept the award at the Reader's Choice Award at the RCX show out here. And so,
Yep.
Yeah, and so I got to go up there. Of course, I wore my powder blue tux. I got to go up there and accept this award, and it was really, it was a huge honor to me because, all these guys in this room, especially on the night Roger Curtis gets, put into the Hall of Fame, but on a night that that all these guys in the industry are there, that I've I guess loved, and I said this in my speech at some point, but that room is just full of passion. Everybody that's into RC, it's passion. Everyone who gets into this, it's passion. I don't think anyone really gets into it and goes, oh, I'm going to make millions. I certainly didn't, and I don't think even Cliff or anybody did. You get into it because you love what it is. You love doing it. It makes you feel good, and it's what you thrive on, and so we do it. And to get to go up in front of this room for just a brief second and get to thank all of them for that, oh my gosh, man, dude, that was such a big deal to me. I'm gonna cry. No, I won't really. But that was such a. that was for a guy who's just raced forever, And I put a lot of effort in the last few years to get my name and try to build an image and get sponsors. I mean, it was a, let's say it was a focused effort. You know, I knew what I was doing, and I've put a lot of effort into getting to this point right here where we are right now. You know, to being on this show, I've done a lot to get to here, and it's been totally worth it because I love the sport and I love what I do. So, you know, bang bang, pay off all ways. Dang it, where was I going with all that? So I got to accept the award and all that, and so I told Cliff at lunch, you know, I go, honestly, you know, all along, all I've really wanted in this is I would love to leave RC with some last impression, something that I was here. You know, I loved it. I gave a lot to it, as I'm sure most people. Everyone sits at home and they look in their garage and they look in their car and they look in their bank account and everywhere else and they see RC. You know, you're either all the way or you're not. That's all it is. Mm. And yeah, and so I love this. I love this industry. I love the sport, and I really want to leave a mark in it. You know, I respect it that much, and to set down a number like 200 miles an hour to me would obviously be that. You know, in a lot of ways. I mean, that's a drop the mic and walk off stage moment. I mean, that's huge. You know, even if someone does break it, they go 201. It doesn't matter. You know, 200 that's it. You did it. Kenny Bernstein did 3, and that was it. You know, that's how it works, I think. And so, you know, that is really the goal. The Guinness record, getting back to our other thing, the Guinness record is currently 161 point something miles an hour, 162, we'll just call it. Nick Case has that. He got that in Rockingham when I was there. I saw that run, and it was incredible to watch. I mean, they're breathtaking to see live. I'll tell you that. For the few people that actually get to witness them, because mostly it's just all video stuff, it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable thing to see a toy car run, you know, at those kind of speeds. And that's the record now. According to Guinness now,
give me a time stamp on that. The Nick Case run. When was that one?
I believe it was 2006 or 2008. One of the two.
Okay, was this the Novak stuff that they were doing for a while?
No. I was doing all Novak. That was he's always done new motors.
Well, I mean, but they held an event, right? Novak was a car action that had like their own speed run event.
Yeah, this was actually what was called ISC, an International Speed Challenge event. That
okay.
Around. That was the group that Nick had founded, and that's why he was trying to get us all out to North Carolina, because he got Rockingham Speedway probably for, you know, next to nothing. And because that's the trick in this thing is find yourself a half mile of flat open ground they'll let you go out there and do stuff on. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
That's really the trick. I mean, woo-wee, that's a trick. Believe me. I drive 200 miles to our runway in the middle of Bakersfield just to make runs for a couple of hours. You know, it's unbelievable. So anybody out there has a connection with a runway or a big flat piece of land and wants me to set a record there, let me know. I'll come. I'll come tomorrow, I promise. So
you're talking about Nick. You're talking about Nick's run in roughly 2006. You said it was 162.
Right.
You said seeing that live was amazing. That's kind of where we were, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was. You know, if I had to sum it up, I mean, you could see videos all over YouTube about it, but if I was to sum it up to stand there live, it was like if you took two pieces of tape and stuck them together and then peeled them apart, that's what it sounded like as the car went by. I mean, I know those sounds now because it was he was running just a Lexan, you know, mold body, and, you know, everything was flopping and moving, and the cars have changed a lot since then. But that car was a single motor, I believe 12 or 13 cells. It weighed about 12 or 13 pounds. It was a Schumacher car. Essentially, it was their whatever, I don't even know their, you know, model car, their 4-wheel drive TC looking car, and it was just stretched out. It was just stretched out to be, I'm guessing he had probably a 23-inch wheelbase, something like that, 23 inch, somewhere in there. Big orange thing. I mean, it was an incredible car to see at that time, and he put that run down. Now, you know, I'm limiting myself right now. So
well, let's stop there for a second. I just kind of want to go back a little bit. So that's 2006. When did you know? Because now we're talking about Max Amps, which is one of your major sponsors. You know, to me, you know, in the battery business, they've obviously went about things a little bit differently than, you know, in sort of the old round battery cell days. You know, they're internet based. selling LiPo batteries. How did you get hooked up with those? You know, I just want to talk about this stuff before you get to, you know, your latest runs. How you got hooked up with max amps and how that all kind of happened with the LiPos.
You know, that's interesting. I guess, you know, I believe it was just, you know, it was through knowing people always. You know, that's always how the road ends up. And I think it was Mike Ogle who knew them and just said, hey, you know, you should talk to them, because I was just coming back to racing at the time. This is after my several-year layoff in the middle, and I was coming back to racing, and I contacted him, of course, right off the bat to get a new car and, you know, see all about this LiPo brushless thing I had been hearing about, but really hadn't really dove into yet. And he told me we should talk to Austin at Max Amps, because they're you know, they got LiPo batteries. They're like one of the newest groups and all this kind of stuff. And so I just basically gave him a call, and just, you know, it never hurts to call somebody up, you know, and I just gave him a call and said, hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I used to do, and I want to go try this out. And he sent me some packs, and they put me on some kind of deal, I think at the time, you know, some percentage deal like everybody gets. And, you know, it just sort of bloomed from there. I mean, I've developed a really good relationship with those guys. It's very personal, I'd say, you know. I guess that's how a lot of these things go too, you know. They're really great. Austin's a great guy. They're a great company. But, you know, I mean, I'm going to get a little bit of a rant real quick. Just let me jump my soapbox and I'll jump right back off. Because, you know, I see it all the time. I see you people in the forums. I see you out there. I totally look and I see all of you. And I know your names, and sometimes I even write them down. But I see this then and then all the time about how crappy Max Amps batteries are, you know, for every which reason. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, even when I'm still paying for my batteries and all that kind of stuff, it still astonished me, because I've never had these problems that some people talk about, or maybe they talk about somebody else had the problem and all that. And, you know, I mean, if you want a battery that's more than 3 weeks old, I mean, I don't know. I want to go into all that. I want to go into how awesome I think they are, because I really do think they're awesome. You can go on the website and check that out yourself. But, you know, I've had, without giving away a name, I've had a leading guy at a leading battery manufacturer here in the U.S. hand me his 2-cell pack out of his personal car, so I have to believe it was a good battery. I wouldn't think he'd be running garbage. And I've run it in my car, and it's slower. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, people tell me, oh, no, they're not fast. And I tell people, well, then come out and go faster than me. Come out and go faster than 120 miles an hour on 2-cell. Come out and do it. I mean, I don't mean that like puffing out my chest, but my gosh, I get so tired of seeing people, because I know it's, you know, it's always, you know, there's the 1% in forums that kind of hate everything no matter what, or only post because they hate or whatever. I really shit out of forums, I know, but I'm a junkie from the Throwback, so I can't stop it. But oh my gosh, it drives me insane, because I mean, you know, unless you run them, I mean, I run them. I'd like to think that everything I run, as a matter of fact, but especially my batteries, I run harder than probably most anybody else. I mean, I think we can all probably agree I probably put them through a harder thrashing than most normal people put them through. And the pack I set the record at 120 on 2-cells, I still have now. I still run it in my Sun Slash. I've still gone out. Actually, that same pack ran in a 4-wheel drive TC car on 2-cell, around 110, which is faster than the current record. I mean, and the battery's probably 6 years old. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, but you know, that I just wanted to get my piece out, because I can't post that everywhere, and that would just take way too much time. So there we go. Yeah. So thank you for allowing me to get that out there. I'm assuming everybody in the forums listens to this show. So there you go. I believe I've taken care of my job now. Thank you.
Don't worry, forum guys. I'll edit all this out.
Oh no!
I'm kidding.
They're welcome to. You know, I always tell people I come from that age. You know, back in the day where, you know, especially in drag racing, people come up to me and you know, oh, your car, you get all special. You know, it used to be that way. I mean, you guys all know that. Back in the day, it used to be that way. You were a team guy. Woo, you had everything better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Or at least you believe that. I'll tell you a fact right now. I'm a team guy for Novak. They pay me. I get taken care of really well there. I use all refurbished stuff. So in your face with your factory guide stuff, because I use all refurbished, and it is no difference. I mean, you just don't get anything better. It would be insane for a company to give somebody that races for them better than what you buy, because then you're going to go out and go terribly with their stuff, and you go, whoa, your stuff sucks, you know? Oh my gosh. Look, now you got me going now. All right, I'm back off the soapbox. All right, let's go back on. Sorry, Jason.
No, you're good. No, it's all good.
But the max amps thing, you know, those guys are awesome. I mean, you know, we've definitely done some learning over the years. I mean, I could tear up some packs. I could blow packs apart in a second and a half in drag racing. For you guys that don't do RC drag racing, an average, like a top fuel, what they call top fuel, that's a 3-cell RC dragster, runs 132 feet in a dead stop at 1.3 seconds at just over about 103, 105 mile an hour. So insane speed in such a tiny little way. So you come from that, and speedrun racing seems easy. And it's kind of funny little story. When I went to North Carolina the first time, I went there thinking, oh man, the speedrun thing's going to be simple. I mean, I go out and I can go 80 miles an hour on 2-cell and 132 feet. They're giving me a whole drag strip. Are you kidding me? I'm going to go 1,000,000 miles an hour. This is a no-brainer, man. Slam dunk. I ran in a Cadillac. It came tooling like I thought I knew everything. Woo! And then I went out and put a car down, and it got up to about, 50, 60 mile an hour, whatever. And two things happened. One, it turned completely around like it was on glass, just spun around at 70 miles an hour until it smashed into the wall. And I thought, whoa, this might be harder than what I first thought it was going to be. And yeah, there it went. So enjoy, kids. Enjoy. Someone asked on one of your things I saw on there, how many speed controls has he burned up? Like jokingly, and I thought a lot about that question after that, because I mean, dude, when I was running 2-cell, and even like I have a 1-cell car that'll run 86 miles an hour, 186 on 3.4 volts, baby, or 3.7, yeah. That car, between those two cars alone, I'll bet I melted 20 speed controls.
Wow.
Just trying to get to that number.
Insane.
Yeah, you pull so much current on such a low voltage, things get crazy in there, and it's just a matter of really figuring out a key. I have all kinds of little electronic doodads on there.
Yes, Carlos Cruz from Allentown, Pennsylvania asked that.
Yeah, Carlos, a lot.
Not too far from me, Carlos. You're about an hour. Fried speed controls left and right.
Dude, that's should we get into the Guinness record? I think everyone should understand that, the parameters.
Well, we covered Max. Yeah, you covered your sponsors, how you got them. So. Yeah,
Max amps are awesome. I really can't say enough. I mean, you could cut all you want, but dude, those guys are so rad. I mean, Novak's always been awesome. I've been great friends with Charlie, and actually when Charlie left Novak, he had a little short time where he moved away and he wasn't really working with him anymore. I actually left and was at Tekin for a tiny little bit of time, running their stuff. And with Tekin was actually where I discovered the real secret in making the 2-cell car go so fast, go from 101 to 120, was running their stuff.
Really?
So there you go, Randy. Boom, in your face. There's a plug for you. Take it. Because he totally hooked me up. He gave me, I'll even say it, it was the big key. Everybody who does speedrun racing on like 2-cells or so, I'm going to give away. I'm going to give away the secret. So people are going to hate me, people are going to love me all at the same time. You ready? You ready for it? Here it comes. Put a 14-millimeter rotor in your 540 motor.
Oh.
That's it. Put a crawler rotor in it. I sat around thinking about it. You know what it is? And you guys are going to appreciate this because I love old car guys, brush motor guys. It was in the drag racing days, at least for us, and even in other racing, remember when magnets became such a big deal? Neodymiums and all these kind of crazy things, and everybody was zapping their magnets and repositioning them and doing all kinds of stuff. And so I was sitting around. I got all my Tekin stuff in one day. They sent me, motor and speed control. It was when they first came out with the RS stuff, so I was really playing with the censored stuff and liking it. And so I started thinking about the old motors, and I thought, those old motors, man, you used to, at least in drag racing, you could hardly turn the armature. It had so much magnetism in it. You could hardly spin the thing over, and I thought, what harm would it do to throw one of these big rotors in there with a ton of magnet on it, because I'm trying to push so much air. I don't care about amp draw, whatever with that. I'm trying to go fast. I'm going to burn stuff up to get there. I understand that. And so yeah, I put that motor together, and I went up to the drag strip, and we were running 2-cells, and everyone was running like like 2.2 seconds at like 50 miles an hour on 2 cells with this kind of motor. And I came out and I basically just swapped out the rotor. I set the car down. It ran a 1.7 at 74 mile an hour, picked up 20 miles an hour with just the rotor at 132 feet. Mm-hmm. And so it was game on from there. And that's really where it started for me. I mean, that was it. I went out and started setting as many records as I could. I mean, I've set everything on low voltage. This is the first one where I'm really going for high voltage. But like I said, it's really just about the 200 mile an hour thing. And so it just kind of ended up that way, you know?
Right.
So your main interest and your main focus there for quite a while was 2S competition, I guess?
Yeah. Well, the thing was I'm a huge fan of censored setups, and I believed, well, in speedrun racing at least, and in drag racing, I was able to figure out really good timing maps that made those setups run faster than like a Mamba Max or any kind of just a normal sensorless setup. I cannot run a sensorless setup with a censored setup. I've done it all the way up to 4 cells, and I'm working on a car actually that will run, you know, maybe 6 or 10. But no one makes that. No one really makes a censored speed control. So a lot of my stuff. One thing about me is I'm kind of a purist in RC. Like when I started doing the speedrun racing stuff, I always wanted to keep it, you know, real car parts, over-the-counter stuff. You know, the Tuso car that went 120, those were 100% over the counter. Every part, the car, the wheels, the motors, the rotor, the speed control, I mean, the gears, everything. There was nothing in that car you couldn't buy over the counter. And that was a big deal to me because I wanted to go out because that was the competition of it. I mean, going fast is cool, but if I know I'm going fast with the same thing everybody else has, then I've really won the game. You know, now I've gone faster. You know, if you're using stuff that, you know, you're getting built by hand and no one has, well, you know, you're kind of in a league by your own at that point. I mean, these are still kind of toy cars on some level. And so that was kind of it. And then when I started, you know, trying to go, oh my gosh, well, we should back up. I'm going to give you a quick little story. I was production manager. I'm an electronics engineer. Like that should surprise anybody. And, and I rode a motorcycle to work, 120 miles every day. Motorcycle guy my whole life. I raced motorcycle when I was a young kid and all that. Well, like 3 years ago in 2010, I was riding home and a person jumped carpool across the double yellow and I slammed into the side of her truck at 55. I hit the side of her truck. I flew across 2 lanes, got hit by another car, and woke up and basically in the emergency room, and they told me, you know, well, you're going to lose your leg from your left leg from the knee down. I'm like, what? What the heck, you know? And it was kind of surreal. It was kind of like watching on TV where you're a little, I guess I was just so loaded up on morphine that you're sort of distanced from it, you know? And so I didn't lose my leg. 2-hour surgery turned into 8. 1 8-hour surgery turned into 4 more. I have 3 steel plates and 38 screws in my leg now that'll be there forever. But I walk. I walk without a cane. I can. 1 year after it happened, or I'm sorry, 2 years after it happened, I ran a mile, and so that was it. They told me it wouldn't happen. They told me I would they told me I wouldn't walk. Then they told me I wouldn't walk without a cane. Blah 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 blah. F you. I walk today, and so you can all take it. But during that time, I didn't walk for 8 months. I sat in a wheelchair for 8 months, and that was an incredible time. It was only a few years ago, and during that time, I learned HTML. I told my wife, I go, you know what, I'm into racing, but I want to do it. That's where the whole thing came. I want to do this different level. I want to get real sponsors. I want to really build this into something, you know. I'm going to get as much out of this because I love it and I think it's great. And so so I built a website and I started putting together this plan of, you know, of how to promote what I do. And I thought right off the bat, well, I want to go out and I want to go 200 miles an hour. I mean, I've got 120 and people see the video and it's fast, but unless you realize the effort it takes to go 120 in 2 cells, it's nothing like seeing a car go 160 or 170 or 180. You know, it's breathtaking no matter what. And so I knew right off the bat, all right, then I need to just go all the way. And as we talked about early, and I'll sprinkle on it, you know, Nick Case and I have a stormy past. We were good friends, and we sort of ended up not being good friends. And so, yeah, there's a little, what do you call it? I don't want to say enemy, but, you know, there's a little I would like to do it before him. There's absolutely that. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I would like to take his record, and I would like to go 200 for him. I know it's the same. He and I are on the same page. And it's kind of sad that we don't get along because he's the only other person I can really talk about any of these things with. He's the only guy who knows, the pitfalls that you go through trying to do this. I mean, it's constant failure. That's all it is. I mean, it'll happen one day. I know it will, but right now it's just in the failure phase, and that's how it works until you fix everything once or twice. And so I decided to go after this record, and then some things changed. I went out and I made that run that was 167, and I had a lot of interest from some outside, I'll just say some overseas companies to go 100% with them. Shirts, socks, underwear, hat, you name it, right? And they were offering a pretty nice package, we'll say, at least on paper, And I had this idea that I really, more than the speedrun thing, I wanted to move into maybe doing other stuff, maybe like doing other types of records, sort of, making this my place. RC doesn't have this. And when Cliff and I had lunch, I threw this idea at him. I don't even know what happened. I haven't heard from him since, so he probably thinks I'm totally insane. But I go, RC doesn't have this, and I don't know that RC's ever had this. But, I want to be the guy. I'm going to go out there, and I want to do all these things. I want to go 200 miles an hour with an RC car. I want to jump an RC car 200 feet. I've already run an RC car across a lake and then off of a jump and then back onto the lake and onto the land again. I have 2 Guinness records set up to go do right now, where there's a record for longest distance in 24 hours by a team of drivers or whatever. You drive a car around for 24 hours. And I don't remember what the mileage is, but it's not very far. And I know I can do it I can probably break the record by maybe almost 1,000 miles. So it would be, enormous. The record's really not that stupendous. So I want to make it huge. But instead of using a team of drivers, I want to do it myself. I want to drive the car myself for all 24 hours. Like I want to do 2 records in one. And so there's a lot of things like that. Like I want to do a bunch of things. Like that's my plan. And right now I'm just, I'm really caught in the speedrun thing. It's going to be the hardest of all of them to do, but it obviously has the most impact. I mean, I don't know if you guys have, you can edit it out if you haven't or not, whatever. But I don't know if you guys have actually even seen any of the videos of my cars running, but I mean, it's a huge deal on video. And the other ones, running a car 24 hours, that's not going to be so big on video. That's just all about getting the record and, placing that on top of whatever platter you're putting junk on, Mm-hmm. And so, the record's the most important. I mean, that's the one I really want. That's what I worked really hard for. And I feel like I'm so close at this point. I mean, my gosh, so close.
Where's the scoreboard at right now with, between you and Nick? You said Nick did the 162 many years ago. You've gotten the 167. Mm-hmm. Where are we sitting at the moment? And,
I've gone as fast as
this race to 200, I guess, is where we're at, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, that really is it, because when Nick was with Associated, he was with them for a short while. They got together and built a shaft drive car. Now I've seen a video. Now this gets into the Guinness rule, and let me clip on the Guinness rule really quick. Is that in order to break this record, you have to have dual optical timing set, which is 2 optical timing traps to record the times. You have to have clear video from the time the car starts moving till the time the car obviously stops moving. They don't want any funny business in there. And the car cannot leave its wheels at any point during those 2 points. I mean, in other words, it
can't fly.
Right. And that's where the problem comes in, it seems. Now, Nick with Associated, they ran several runs in the mid-170s. I believe 177 was their fastest run. But on that run, the car actually blew over in the timing traps, blew straight up in the air and over. And all the other runs, it blew over or crashed. And so none of those runs could be submitted. Guinness won't take any of them. I ran 179. The car also ran off the end of the runway and crashed. And that run was on a radar gun and a GPS, not on an optical timing system. Then I ran the 167, which the video is floating around of. That one also, as you could see in the end of the video, crashed, left the track and crashed. So that is, that really kind of is the Rubik's Cube of it, is to get a car from A to B. It just, you talk about it and it seems so easy. I mean, that should seem like almost the last problem you have. But when you have a toy car, and I like to use that term because they are at some level. I mean, maybe mine's not now at this level, But you have a car moving, upwards of 160, 170, 180 miles an hour, and then you have to try to stop it. And it just, there's not a lot of weight. My car ready to run is only about 6.5 pounds, and that's nothing. And we went out I guess 3 or 4 weeks ago, a car action came out, and I've been trying to use a parachute to get it to stop. Now, the problem with the braking thing, I guess I should hit on that, is the problem with the braking is nobody makes a car speed control that will take 12 cells. Biola. Right. So you're stuck with an airplane or a helicopter or a boat or, one that does all the three, basically. And they don't usually have brakes because, well, they never really have to stop. So, braking is a real difficulty in this. I understand nobody's running cars on 12 cells right now for the most part, so it's not really a market that anyone wants to concentrate on. And, it is what it is. I've reworked my speed controls, and I've gotten some braking out of them, but I'm also running a parachute system. And, I'm hoping that will keep it all together, but it's still an adjustment. You go out and run the parachute, and it pulls too hard. It wants to lift the car off the ground a little bit, and and that'll lift it right off the ground and bang it into the ground, and that's, that disqualifies you.
So to kind of for a Guinness record to be accepted, you have to leave the start and go through the traps, and the car cannot leave the ground or crash. But can you crash after you go through the traps?
No, and that's the funny thing. The record now, that car actually crashed after it went through. It went through the traps, and then went all the way to the left side and smashed into the K-rail and broke into pieces. And at the time, there was really no Guinness record for it, I believe. And so they took it. Okay, well, we're going to establish a record. And they took it and they established a record. And now that's changed. You have to have a clean run, which, it's disappointing because it'd be great to think, oh, I'd have a record. But it's not either because, to me, that's, this record should be that hard. It should be that hard. You're going to be you're going to declare yourself the fastest RC driver in the world with the fastest car in the world. And, it should have to be essentially a perfect run. It should all have to happen. And that's a hard thing. I was explaining to somebody yesterday that just the rear wheels at these speeds, the rear wheel itself is turning near 30,000 RPM. So, try to figure out a wheel that will stay together at that RPM without blowing all the pieces. And the second one chunk comes off it instantly goes out of balance, and then the whole, then it's just a terrible mess. It gets yucky really, really quick, and so it's just kind of how that is.
So what do you, with your car that you're using now, with the rules that you have with Guinness, and where are you at with in terms of your current speed, your top speed, going by the rules? Kind of where are we at currently?
Going by the rules, the last time out I ran 151, and that was the tires blew apart. The entire, I'm still trying to, foam tires or rear tires are the last actual RC car part on my car. This car that I'm running now is 100% handmade by me, every piece of it. I made the mold, made the body, made the carbon fiber body, made under trays, made the chassis sides, made the wings front and back, made the front wheels because the front wheels would just blow apart all the time. And now I'm onto rear wheels. And I have some things in the works trying to come up with a rear wheel that will stay together, or just a machined wheel that I can glue foam on. If you can keep the foam down low enough, it's less weight to pull away. So that last time out I ran 151. I ran a 138 or something like that, and I was somewhere in the mid 40s, and then the 51. And each time it was just blowing the wheels apart, and that was kind of it for the day. So it just. I'm at the wheel roadblock now, with so many other things, and it could be something else after this too. The rears could stay together and then something else, but I really feel like, that's it. That's the last thing. That's the last part that I'm not making, that I'm still trying to use a hobby industry, standard part, and it's just impossible. It's silly to even think you can, but
What's the traction like with the foams on the surface that you are? Do you have to go out and prepare the actual track surface with, to run the foams? And, what kind of bite does the car have when you're taking off?
Well, that's an interesting question because the current Guinness record was also run on VHT. It was run on a drag strip. And so, as anyone knows who's wandered onto a VHT drag strip, it's really sticky. And a 12 or 13 pound car will push right down into it real nice and stick really nice. And Nick was using, I believe at the time, he was using a vulcanized rubber, like a hockey puck, a vulcanized rubber wheel. And it made tremendous traction. The car, I think a lot of the sound we heard of it going by was with the tires actually, peeling off of the surface itself. I've run, when I ran the 167, that was on sugar water. We go out and we spray, we blow down. I have a team of guys. Oh my gosh. I really want to have 1 second. I'm going to take it right here. Because let me make one thing clear. Like, I can talk about all the things I make on these cars and all the things I do and all this stuff, but the honest truth is I absolutely couldn't do any of this without the team of guys that I have. I have guys that, they don't get paid anything. I try to buy them lunch or something like that, but these guys all come out. They drive 200 miles with me just to chase the same dream of mine, to be a part of this with me. And I'm so honored to have friends like that, and I know a lot of guys out there have that, and you have to have that. I absolutely couldn't have gotten anywhere, and I know all these stories start this way, but I absolutely couldn't have done any of these things without all these other people, RC Mitts, he does all my photography, and Tito, he like, I have a main guy who takes care of getting the whole track clean for me. This guy goes out with a leaf blower and blows down a half mile of runway. Who does that for you? Who goes out and does that for you and comes back smiling like it's all ready to go, dude? These are the kind of people I have. It's mind blowing. I have a guy named Gary O'Connor, who runs this international speed group, and he brings the timing system out for me. He drives all the way up, sets up a timing system for me to use. You guys all know that. These kind of things too, they don't happen just because you want it to happen. They happen because other people want you to have it happen too, It's just, so, okay, I won't belay that one, but, I just really had to say that. I really had to get that part out. But as far as the track, I'm sorry, but as far as the track goes, we blow it all off. You spend probably 2.5, 3 hours blowing it off with air blowers and sweeping it down, all of it. It has, you hit a pebble at that speed and it'll destroy the car. And so it has to be really clean. And it's a runway that's had airplanes on it, so it has everything on it, And so we clean it off. Now, I did run the 167 on sugar water, and I was running a shorter run-up. I was only running about 1,200 foot total instead of, 1,900 foot or whatever I run now. But with the traction, with the sugar water, that gives you enough traction that once you...
Oh, no, more sugar talk.
Yeah, well, and the honest truth is I don't want this record on sugar. I know it's currently on VHT, but I don't want it on anything. So all my runs now, all the runs I've been making ever since that one have all been just on a clean runway. We just clean it off. And if you have enough space and you get your aerodynamics right, and that's what really comes into that, it's all in getting the aerodynamics of the car right. So the car's, pushing itself down enough, but that you're not spinning, but you're not dragging, It's just such a game. It just never ends, That's
you're talking about the foams blowing apart, and then Nick, you said was on a vulcanized type tire.
Yeah.
Is this, are these the types of wheels and tires that, I've seen stuff like, skateboard wheels, and then you got, different things where the tire portion is actually molded with the wheel, where they're actually like one unit.
Right. I'm actually trying to do that.
Is that
right
kind
now.
of the direction? Is that the direction that I figured that'd be the direction you'd have to go to keep it all together?
It seems that way, and that's another group of people after my last run. Some great guys popped up and said, hey, we have some ideas for you to make essentially some kind of a infused polymer is the word they used. And it sounded really cool and important, so I'm going to use it too. So they talked about some kind of infused polymer wheel, and I assumed that's what they meant, essentially a wheel with some kind of softer infused type of rubbery substance on the outside. Until you try it, you just don't know. Everything's so uncharted. And I was, I emailed Cliff Lett because I wanted an answer to a question, and It was great because I love when Cliff gives me his suggestion and I go completely against it. That's always nice. And I'm going to say it right here on the air so he knows. So I email him like, hey, I'm thinking about making a body pan for the bottom of my car. And he, what do you think about sealing off the car? And he comes right back, no, I'm totally against it. I know aero guys believe it, and Nick believed it, but I'm totally against it. I believe you got to let the air move, blah, 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 blah. So I immediately walk out of my shop and start making a mold. I immediately go out and start making a mold. Why? I don't know. Because, you just, it comes back to what I think, because you just don't know. I mean, even though in my gut, I don't think it'll work either. The car might blow over. I don't know. But there's part of me, it's like, well, you got to try because, nobody has done any of these things. So there's really no wrong answers. I mean, nobody knows. If somebody knew, they'd already done it. I can tell you that. They'd already done it for sure.
So kind of rolling down the road a little bit for, do you anticipate maybe a head-to-head with you and Nick ever, at an event or something where everybody feels like they kind of got their program together and they're ready to kind of battle it off at one particular event? I've been approached, we'll say, with that idea in mind, for kind of a video thing of Nick and I sit down and for those of you who don't, I mean, I think I already brushed on it. Nick and I aren't the best of buddies anymore, and it's all good. I mean, I respect him. He's been going fast a long time. The things he did a few years ago were incredible. I mean, when he ran 61 in 06 or 08, whatever it was, I mean, you couldn't even get people over 100. I mean, it's still kind of hard to get over 100, although Trexas claims they can. But yeah, I mean, that's a hard number to get past, and this guy's going 160, So, I mean, it was mind-blowing. And, he in some ways, how other people have paved ways, he's paved ways. And I'm just trying to do the same thing. I believe my theory on going really fast is more solid than his. So yeah, I mean, I would totally welcome a challenge like that, absolutely. And so they presented that to me. Would you guys want to sit down and debate what you think is right and not right and whatever else, and then go out and have that. And I would be down with it. All meanness aside and everything, I think it's a tremendous way to promote speedrun racing, to let people see it. I mean, it's the kind of thing that once you do it, and you guys all know, I mean, everybody has an RC car. How many of you, the first thing you do when you got it was you went out in the middle of your street and you drove it all the way to the end of your block and you drove it by you as fast as you could, just see how fast it would go. I mean, that's what RC's all about, how fast will this thing go? And speedrun racing is a lot that way. If you're only running 1 and 2 cell cars like that, 80, 100 miles an hour car, you could find good streets, around to race on and roads. And, a lot of people can get into it. It surprises me how many people, I know I'm so sidetracking, but it surprises me how many people have gotten into speedrun racing in the last few years. I see a huge number of people on YouTube and stuff. It seems like, that's a gathering point. They can all come on there and they can put their videos and everybody can kind of watch. And man, there's some guys, that are super fast. There's some guys that are super fast all over. They don't really have a track because they have to do it on a street somewhere, but I've seen videos and, we're trying to, Car Action hit me up about putting together, another one of their speed runs out here in California. And I would love to do it. And if that happened, then I would think that Nick and I would have that proverbial showdown because, I mean, I, of course, would run at it and he would be here and he would want to run. We would all want to take advantage of a place that we could run on. Anything aside between the two of us, we love speedrun racing. And if someone's going to give you a big stretch of asphalt, let you go as fast as you want on it, man, I'm there all day. And so is he, Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I see is, I see sort of like you said, you guys have a passion for like the idea that, the speed run type racing. And I just feel like maybe a promotion with you guys trying to battle it out, whether you have your differences and not. I'm sure that, like you said, if you got a nice stretch of pavement that's clean and you guys could kind of have one of those, get Gotti going with his WWE type promotion between you guys and get this thing rocking where people have a little bit bigger interest in it. Maybe you guys can get some more organized competition, a little more mainstream within our small industry.
Yeah. It would be great. And the cool thing about our, like speedrun racing at least is, I mean, you literally can run anything, because there's classes. It's just like Bonneville, there's classes for anything. And the real events that I've been to have all been held on drag strips. And, you have over half mile of open territory. And, like when I make my run, I have a big scissor lift that, I can lift myself up 65 feet in the air. So I try to get a view of the car, hopefully, when it's so far away. And it's the same thing at these runs. I mean, you get all these kinds of things, and I mean, it's just the kind of thing like any racing, it's hard to find a venue that will let you come in there and that doesn't, charge so much. Insurance is always a bad one. You end up charging poor guys $70, $80, $100 a car to come. But amazingly enough, the speedrun guys are really dedicated, because the few runs I've been to, I'm sure the entry was really close to that much. And I mean, they were packed, guys coming from all over. So,
well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's, I look forward to that type of an event and exposure for you guys, and, trying to kind of press that envelope and see if you can get to the 200 mark. Yeah,
I would certainly love to, that really is the goal, I mean, regardless of whether I get there or not, I think it's achievable whether I get there first or not. To this point, it's been, I still have no regrets in pouring so much of myself and my time and my energy into RC racing and the hobby as a whole. It's always given me back so much more, and just the people I've met over the years. I mean, some of the people I look back as friends that and I'm sure you guys think that you think of as just tremendous friends, all came from RC. They all seem to whittle their way out of RC at some point. I mean, there's some wondrous people out there too, but there's some incredible people.
Absolutely, I agree.
Incredible people like Gotti Jr. Yeah. We need to do for that showdown. We need to do 4 weeks of storylines, to build up the suspense and stuff like that, like WWE.
Yeah,
I'll work on that. I'll do the script.
I'm telling you, I would be down with it, and we're both right here. We're both, he's less than an hour, maybe hour from me. So
really?
we're here. We're right here, and
it's just cool though. I picture you in your garage at night working on stuff, and he's in his garage working on stuff, and you're trying to get there.
That's where I am right now. I'm out in the speed shop. Can't you tell? I'm out here right now the whole time. Sometimes I start talking and I get lost in what I'm saying. It's because I'm staring at my car, and I'll come out here and I'll just sit and stare at it. And
wow.
It's just, don't you do that? Am I the only one?
And you're still married?
Yeah.
I stare at all my cars.
She's a good woman. Or
she must be.
Or she just likes her space. I took her out. I never take her to RC races. I don't know how that works with you guys, but she's just, she doesn't race. And if you go to a race and you don't race, they're pretty boring. They're pretty boring just to hang around unless you know a bunch of people and you just, make a fool of yourself for a while, which is pretty much what I do. But, I took her out. I took her to an oval race, a big velodrome race. And halfway through the day, I felt so bad for her. I promised her I would never take her. She's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, no, I'll never take you again. I know. I can see it. I know how horrible this is. And
yeah.
And you look around at some of the people, and sometimes I'm ashamed.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Sometimes. And I thought, sometimes hobbies are best just for guys to do. It's okay. It's okay if just me and my buddies go and do it, because I like it and I have a great time and I don't think about any of those things. But I don't. Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
It's RC, and it's great too, because she came with me to RCX this year, and she came with me to the awards dinner, and which let me talk about the awards dinner, okay? For anyone who knows or don't know, Charlie from Novak. How do you say his last name? I've known him forever, and I can't say his last name right, so I won't even try. So if you don't know, then don't say it wrong, because I always hate saying people's names wrong. But anyways, so me and Charlie are really good friends with him, and so I tell Charlie, I'm like, yeah, Max Amps told me, if they win Batter of the Year, they've won 5 years, so I had a pretty good odds going in, that they would let me give the speech. So I'm like, woo, dude, how much more psyched can I be? I got to go up there and give the speech, right? And so I asked Charlie, I'm like, hey, dude, what should I wear to this award thing? I've never been to it. Is it, suit and tie, or, these are RC people, so shorts and T-shirt would not surprise me at all, for an awards dinner. And much to my pleasure, most everybody was in that. But he tells me in Facebook, he's like, well, you should wear a tux. And I'm like, you're right. That's a great idea. I should wear a tux, and you should wear a tux with me. And so I put up the picture of Dumb and Dumber, where they're in the powder blue and the orange tux. And I go, and here's the tuxes we'll wear. And so I'm going to tell you a quick little story about Charlie. There was the Reedy off-road races out here a few months back, and I'm a good soldier. I try to get around to all the electric races, even though I don't race off-road or anything. I get out to them and get around, get my mug out in the public and talk to people and all that. And I was there talking to Charlie, and he goes, you know what, dude? He goes, I want to tell you something. He goes, you're at a point now in RC where, cause I don't know, I was just telling him how crazy it was. I went to this race, quick sideline, went to this race, man, I'm just all over the place right now. Woo! I went to this race, and like a couple people knew who I was, and so I pooped myself. Like I was so stoked, like 2 people knew who I was, right? Seriously, dude. I'm like, woo, woo. Okay, whatever. So, and so Charlie tells me,
yeah,
he's like,
I was there, and I didn't recognize you. So now I feel bad.
Well, and the best part is, we walk over, and I tell Charlie, thanks a lot for that. I walk over, I tell Charlie, I go, hey, dude, I want to get a picture with Cliff. I have this idea in my mind. We don't have near long enough show for me, man. I'm telling you right now.
I know this is amazing.
I have this idea in my mind when I went to that show. Is I have a photographer who goes with me everywhere because that's what you do when you're big, right?
Wow.
Right. You look. Listen to me, Gotti. If you want people to believe you're important, you have to act important. Right. Wrestling is this way. This is the law, and I know everyone thinks I'm kind of goofing, but you know the truth I'm saying right now. You know the truth I'm saying. You build emotion and it comes. And so anyway, yeah, woo. And so so we're at this race, and I tell Charlie, I go, I have this idea. I want to go around to all the top drivers, Adam and all these guys, and I want to get a picture with them. Just like, chilling with them or whatever, the stupid arm in arm, like, your buddies when you're not. And I want that picture, but then I want a picture of them, like, acting like they're choking me or acting like they're punching me or some silly, like I'm looking away with this dumbass look on my face and he's getting ready to hit me with a car. Like I thought it'd be a funny campaign. All right, I don't know, but I just had to get that out because I thought it would be good. Maybe it wouldn't be. So Charlie comes up and I'm like, hey, dude, let's go over to Cliff Lett. So Cliff was my first my first one in this scheme, right? No wonder he thinks I'm weird. And so I go over to Cliff. I'm like, hey, dude, can I get a picture? He's like, yeah. And Charlie's all, hey, Cliff, this is Tim Smith. And Cliff Lett turns to Charlie and goes, I know who he is. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in your face.
There you go.
In your face, Ruona. Cliff Lett's on the cutting edge, baby. And he's not even on Facebook. Or he is, but he doesn't have a picture. I don't know. It's weird. But, and so Charlie tells me, he's like, you know what, dude? He goes, I got to tell you something. He goes, you're totally at a point now in RC where you can just dream up stupid, fun things, and people pay you to do it. I swear to you. I go, no, come on, dude. Come on, that's silly talk. I mean, I'm just a guy who races RC cars forever. And so when we had this conversation on Facebook, I'm like a good comedian. See how they all come back around in the end? We had this conversation on Facebook, and so he tells me this about we should get these tuxedos. And I go, okay, Charlie, you know what? I'm going to put you to the test right now. I'm going to put your little theory to the test. Within 24 hours, I had 2, I think they were $500 tux, the full-on tuxes to him and me. There it is. There's the story. Like what? And as I told him, I go, what is happening? What is happening that I can make some calls and talk to people and tell them, hey, man, what if I wore this tuxedo and Charlie wore his and we accepted the award? They go, man, that's a great idea. Are you kidding me? I mean, really, are you kidding me? And so there it was. And so we show up at the show, dressed like that. And
I saw the photo of Charlie's.
I had an inkling we were going to get, the award, which is cool. And I went up there and accepted it. And actually, I didn't want to look like a fool. I mean, that wasn't the point. I thought I want to leave here and let people at least maybe remember that I was here, in some fun way. I mean, it was fun to me. I wasn't trying to be foolish. I was just embarrassing. I was trying to have fun with it, dress nice. And, but, it really was about, going all the way back at the beginning and getting that little 10-second spot just to thank all these people. Like, to me, in my whole RC racing thing, that was an awesome, moment to get to have. Not a lot of people get that moment. Not a lot of people. People tell me, oh, you're so lucky you get, free parts or, you get this or whatever. But, dude, get the time to go and thank the people that have given you a lot of great memories and stuff. Woo! Awesome. Awesome sauce right there, dude. So, rock and roll.
Well,
I have a question.
keep us up
Oh, go
to
ahead,
date.
Jason. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, keep us up to date on the big event, the big showdown, the promotion.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get back out and make a run.
Okay, that was a question. We had a question sent in from, I can't even read his name because it's in Japanese.
Nice.
But then inside it says, what's the date of the next 200-mile-per-hour attempt?
Well, it goes like this. The complexity of trying to run a car 200 miles an hour, I have to rent a runway in Bakersfield.
Okay.
So it's an active runway, and they fly and land planes on there while we're there. So sometimes you run out and you grab all the stuff off the runway and you run off the runway real quick. I'm not kidding you. So
wow.
it's a little bit of a tough thing to get it. I'm always looking for a new place or a better place or a place that will let me. There's places like I could go to Fontana if I want to pay $1,000 a day. That's insanity. You need to go out there because most of the time you're just trying to test and figure stuff out. So
what's it cost to rent that?
That one out there, the whole day realistically is, I threw a number at a certain company when they asked me about that at $2,000 a trip.
What?
Yeah, is what it takes basically,
Oh man.
Paying photographers, paying a staff of people to come out there. I mean, even if you're just paying them lunch, track rental, gas, to and fro. It's 200 miles, so all those crazy things. Yeah, I could have picked something easier.
It's a good thing you made all that money when you were 19, because now you found a way to use it.
No. See, I had kids, and so I don't have that money anymore. No. Well, I mean, I just race cars, so that means I'm totally poor. That's all I do now. I just race toy cars, so... Do you know anyone racing toy cars that has money? Are you kidding me? Come on now.
Jason Ruona.
But he owns a company too, though. He's a mixture. He just doesn't count. And like Adam Drake, you don't count either, dude, because you go there 9 to 5. So don't even tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. You don't count. Guys like me. And you know what? It's amazing. Let's throw a little cheer up. I'm going to pat my own self on the back, or at least point out the freak flag to myself, because you guys, you tell me who in RC has the sponsorship level or getting the deals or whatever you want to call it, or the publicity, getting a magazine. Who's getting that? Who's not racing, off road or who's doing that? Who's doing what I'm doing? Like nobody. Like it's
not a lot out there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know how I've carved this niche out. I mean, I just believe it's because of the video of it is so crazy, and I don't know. I'm using social media to my fullest advantage, I think. And then on top of that, I'm gonna go really fast and freak people out. So,
I'd say the biggest probably one of the things that I see is what Masami does now since he's retired from RC is he does a lot of I'd consider like tricks and stunts. And he does a lot of promotional events for Yokomo now that he's not a competitive racer. And, reminds me a little bit of that where I noticed he does TV shows in Japan where he jumps his four-wheel buggy through a basketball hoop. And
that's exactly what I'm saying. And, like I'm putting together a series called, they're probably going to be called the Max Amps Minutes per sponsorship, where basically it's these little minute clips that are going to be on the RC show. Did I say it right? God,
right.
Such a knucklehead sometimes. These little 1-minute clips where basically I just, give a tip or a secret to going fast or somewhere along those lines. Like I've been looking to try and do that stuff. I've been thinking about, I'm putting together like a little promotional thing where I'll go to races. I'll go for Max Amps and for Novak and anyone else who wants to get on board and essentially set up a booth like I would have at RCX or something like that. Like I work the RCX shows and do those kind of shows. So I'm, I understand all that. And I've done that when I was in, in the real world in electronics. I've done trade shows. So I'm pretty clear on the whole deal. And so I've been kind of putting together a little package where I would go and do that, go and show all my sponsors and kind of, it gets them at every race, even if they're not racing at that race. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to look at different things like that, just different types of promotion that I don't think anyone's doing in RC. I went out and got got companies outside of RC. You know, I got energy drink companies that sponsor me, things like that. Like I wanted to bring in non-main or mainstream companies, non-RC companies. You know, something different. I don't know what all that means.
Yeah, really.
Promotion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just you know what it is. Sometimes I was a gaming junkie during the time when I wasn't RC racing. I was really into gaming. I did a lot of online gaming.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey,
are we just falling in love with each other? Is that what's happening right now?
You guys are separated. You guys are separated at birth, I think.
Really? You know what though? It goes along those lines. When you're this kind of person, you tend to get into like everything I did. Like I was a really good golfer. I caddied for a professional golfer for 2.5 years. I was on the road. That's all I did. That's a whole nother night. Let's have that night. That'll be a fun night. Woo! And so everything I've done, you know, helicopter, I mean, RC in general, gaming, even though it was a team gaming, I did Counter-Strike for all you geeks out there. Yeah, Counter-Strike.
Okay.
And, I did, I did that, for several years. And all those things, when you're these kind of people, I think in RC even, it goes that way. A lot of the top guys, you're kind of introverted. You're Asperger's kind of guy, you know? You're that style of dude. So, yeah, so I did gaming for a while, and I don't know. I don't even know what I was going to say about gaming, but that's what I did.
Do you do consoles now, or just was it PC back then?
It was all PC back then, yeah.
Any consoles now?
No, my kids have Xbox and all that, and my son actually was playing like Counter-Strike and Condition Zero, or not Condition, Call of Duty, and I tried to play it with a gaming thing. Oh, forget it, man. Give me a mouse and a keyboard. Yeah, I can't do it.
So I guess I won't see you on the Sony PS4 when it comes out.
I mean, you don't know. I don't know. I watch him play, and I want to play so bad. I was super good, dude. I was super.
Just get the Sony PlayStation 4 in November, and then we'll game online.
Yeah.
And we'll get Rona's going to get one too.
Yeah.
No.
No.
What?
But I would definitely like to hear the update.
Okay, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Megan Brown from RC Life asked, "What is the one thing you would like to?
Sorry.
What is the one thing you would like to see changed in RC?"
Whoa! What was the one thing I'd like to see changed in RC?
Yeah.
Dang.
But it's only one.
Yeah.
Only one. So
I know. I mean, this is a soapbox question.
keep it under 30 seconds.
You know? Yeah. Don't even put a time limit on. You know what? I guess what I would like to see.
Monday Night Raw's on.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna say it this way. I don't know. I think I've been in it too long. I want to. You know what I want to see? I want to see it grow again. But I don't know what's going to make that happen. That's never. I don't believe, honestly. My heart feels like it'll never be like it was in the early '90s. In the early '90s, I was oval racing, I was drag racing, I was flying all over the U.S. to do it. It just, man, I don't think it'll be like that anymore. You can call it economy, you can call it ready to run trucks, you can call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't even matter to me. It just is what it is, So, I don't know. I mean, what else do you say with that one? Well, I mean, what do you guys think? What would you say to that question?
I want more rivalries, like we were talking about earlier.
Oh well, I mean,
I want some more hate and
Okay,
I need a bad guy in RC. There's
if I can self-lay it, then yeah, absolutely. When
everybody seems like they're friends and everybody gets along. I want to see a little blood. Nothing mean spirit. I just want to see some bad blood.
I believe RC needs a guy like me. I told when Cliff and I sat down at lunch. Now I'm going. Look, didn't you start me? Did you? This is how it started early.
Well, if I was any good at racing, I'll tell you right now, I'd be out there racing as a villain. So.
Yeah, see, my days of racing are over. Kids are too young and quick now. I don't think I can handle it. I've stopped for too long. I can go to Novak and practice in the back, carpet thing. But I don't believe I could get it back like it used to be. I mean, I'm not a young dude no more.
As far as changing RC, like product-wise and stuff, I left it up to the smart guys like Ruona and stuff. So
yeah, I
let that stuff up to them. So Jason, what do you think? What are you going to change, Jason? He can't give his secrets out.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, it's a whole nother show.
It is. I mean, what do you?
Well, there you go, Megan. You stumped us. That's a good question.
I mean, I totally agree with you. And I think I can bring. I think I am. Just RC doesn't know it yet. I am what RC could use. I'm something that RC doesn't have. Like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, people at RC are just going to see it happen. And some people will like me, and some people don't like me. Believe it or not. I know, it's amazing, right? I have people that really don't care for Tim Smith. There's some people that just are a little uneasy about how he does things and how he is and all. And that's cool. I mean, I'm an introvert, but then again, I'm that same guy who puts on a power blue tux and goes up in front of everybody in the industry and unprepared and just starts talking. So, I'm down with whatever. Like, I'll do it. Like, I love what I do. And even this interview I thought about, I'm going to only cut you off this last time and then I'm going to let you talk.
Go ahead.
Is I thought about this interview and, you think about it a little bit beforehand because I'm thinking, what should I say? What's he going to ask me? Oh, well, he just had Ernie on and he just had Cliff on. And I mean, I got to live up to some standard. And you don't have to live up to anything. It's just, I love RC, and I knew once we started talking, just like before we even recording, when I first came on, it was just all you had to do was push go. Like I bleed RC, and so I always have. I've been doing it more than 20 years, dude. I'm 45 years old. Take that, people. Take a bite of that and chew on it for a while. I've been doing this forever, man, forever and ever. And I'm gonna go off this year. I'm gonna do a bunch of crazy stuff, and people are gonna like it. People may not like it. It doesn't. I mean, in some ways, it doesn't matter. It's just, the Guinness record. That record's all for me. I mean, people go, "Oh yeah, you got the record, 200 miles an hour." That's for RC. Like, that's for RC. The Guinness record, I'll hang it in. It'll be a nice plaque. I'll hang it on the wall, and I'll look at it every once in a while and think that's really cool. At one moment, I was the guy. There was nobody faster. But 200, that's for RC, man. That's like my gift. I want to give that to the industry. Here you go. I love you. You've given me so much. Boom, here it is. So. We'll see. Well,
it's going to be interesting. I look forward to following it and see if you can do it, Tim.
Me too.
Well, we'd love to have, this has been going on. Monday Night Raw's on, so I really have to go.
Oh! Don't you have a DVR? What's wrong with you?
I do, but I got to watch it live, man.
I know.
No, I'm kidding.
I don't want anybody to tell me how a fake match turns out.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I want to come back because I want to have you and I just talk about wrestling because most people don't know out there. I did wrestling for a while, so let's get down.
Oh, that's right.
Get down on the wrestling trail, baby.
God damn it, we could be on the line here for another half hour.
Oh yeah, wrestling.
Jason's got to go.
Yeah.
I can let you guys go while I go to In-N-Out Burger out here.
Oh, is that where you're going?
Wait, where are you at? Do you have In-N-Out?
He's still in Cali.
I'm up north now. I'm in Chico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've done the whole swing. I started in San Diego. I went to Orange County. Now I'm up in Chico.
Man, I should come up there. I'm not doing anything. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Speed run outside the hotel.
There you go. I'll do it anywhere, man. I don't care. I'll do it anywhere.
Where are you going to eat right now, Jason?
I don't know if Tim's got anything though for my 10L with my 12 cells. And my Reedy 12 double from 1993.
I doubt it.
I'll have to see. He might not have anything. So.
I still have the car that we ran. We ran at the Velodrome, the big 18 cell car. So I'll run that against you.
Wow.
I'm sure the cells are a little rusty, but hey, man, they'll hold some voltage.
Well, cool.
Can you touch on that wrestling in under 30 seconds, or no?
I could touch all over it. Where do you want me to grab it at?
No, I don't want to go too far into it. But I mean, like, what did you?
I got really into wrestling, and I mean, really quick. I got real like everybody, every kid. I got really into wrestling. Hulk Hogan days, I was hooked. Andre the Giant, all the greats. Was hooked, and then it just carried over into Raw, all the way up until Benoit went nuts and killed everybody. Right. And I started doing some side writing for a couple of online RC magazines. Just doing Monday night reviews. Like if anybody goes into my Facebook and goes deep into my notes, you'll see a bunch of Monday night reviews and stuff in there, and write-ups from old races in Florida and all kinds of crazy stuff. So there's all that in there. So I started doing that, and then I ended up. I live out here in Wildemar, which is Temecula, which is like 4.5 minutes from AKA and Joel and Mark and Gil and everybody. I'm like in the hub, baby. And so down here, there's a group called West Coast Wrestling Company that puts on, local events or, wrestling. He trains wrestlers and all that. So I went down to one of his shows just to do a write-up of it, just to do a review because it's, it's a couple nickels in my pocket. And so I wrote up the show and just sort of became friends with this guy. His name's Adam Ginsberg. You can find him on my friends too. Go for it.
Okay.
And I hooked up with him. And we just became, really good friends. And so I just started hanging out down there when he was training. One thing leads to another. I mean, how else can I say it? That's how it goes. It started with we were at Camp Pendleton doing a show out here, the Marine base out here, and they threw somebody out in the audience to me, and so I back chopped him 3 times and threw him back in, and that's where it started.
Wow.
That was the first thing, and I thought, oh, this is awesome.
What was your wrestling name?
The Intimidator.
Intimidator.
Right. Come on. Come on.
He dressed in Dale Earnhardt memorabilia.
Yeah. I actually came out as a hillbilly, as like a redneck, with an Intimidator hat on. You're exactly right.
Is there any video of that?
I might have some. Let me poke around and see. I'm sure I have pictures of me all gigged up. Like I told you before I did the show, I will not blade on the first night in. Yeah, I have to break your heart. They actually cut themselves with razor blades. That's not really from punches usually. So
what?
Just
God,
I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
But from an insider, I'm just telling you that's how it works. So yeah,
I'm gonna have to put my Kevin Nash bumper on the beginning of the show now.
I love it. I'm too broken up now to do anything. Maybe I could do some manager stuff and get tossed around, but I'm too old and beat up. But I still love it. I don't watch it as much as I used to, but once wrestling's inside of you. That's a hard one.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it. I ran into Kevin Nash about a month ago, and I had him record a bumper for the show.
I saw that. I have some pictures with me and Goldberg. He's out here all the time.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, we can go all night, man. But I really appreciate being on the show.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll have to have you on again, especially if you go out there and break that damn record.
Yeah, so that's my goal now. To get back on the show, I got to break a record.
Yeah, that's the only way to get back on.
Dang it. Maybe I'll just crash really, really excitingly.
That's acceptable as well.
Okay, cool. That's fair enough.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. It sounds pretty damn cool, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
Wish I had the knowledge to do all that stuff. And,
I appreciate you. I mean, it's cool to get to be on here and let people kind of find out just briefly about what I do. And there's different kind of RC out there, and you can do really good at it, and you can and you can do a lot of fun things. So that's all. Whatever.
Well, check them out on Facebook. It's Tim Smith. There's only 9 million of them.
Tim Smith Racing.
Yeah, Tim Smith Racing on Facebook.
I'll just type it in. Oh no, wait. Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, man. I'm excited about your route there, and keep us up to date. I like seeing the updates on Facebook, and your stuff looks great.
Thanks, guys, man. I really appreciate it.
All right, Tim. Thanks a lot.
All right, man. Thank you. Thank you, everybody out there, too, man, for the support. Like, seriously. I know it's kind of lame to say in a way, but, dude, thanks for so much. So many people support me. Like, even when I do bad, they come on there and cheer me up, and that's
right.
It always works that way. You always fail before you succeed about 10 times.
Real quick, give your shout-outs quick to your sponsors.
My shout-outs, obviously my team, RC Mitts Photography, Tito, Gary O'Connor, Nick Steele, obviously Max Amps, man. I mean, seriously, they're the best batters in the world. Why do you keep, goofing yourself and trying to buy junk from somebody else? Novak Motors. You can go to timsmithracing.com. Look at all my sponsors on there. They're all incredible. I use every one of their products. It's not that kind of deal where I just squeeze nickels out of them. I mean, this is all about going fast, and I just appreciate anybody who just pays attention to it, is into it. It's I put a lot of effort into it, so it's awesome when people see the things I built and like it. You don't feel like some great lunatic in your garage building stuff.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, thank you.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Tim. We'll see you on the interwebs.
All right, man. I'll see you guys. Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.